Hello, welcome back to the Drivve technical training course. This is lesson 4. We're going to cover the basic configuration, and by that we mean the configuration that you can quickly do inside of the browser as an admin. So the most simple configuration of a Drivve system can be done right within the UI. You don't need any of the extra tools or anything like that. We can just configure the basic stuff in here as the administrator. So when I first log into the system, I'm going to log in with the public account, and the public account has a password of public as well. And that user is built in. It doesn't take up one of the user seats or the user licenses. It's just the built-in super admin account. So you see when I log in, there's no documents or anything like that in there. The public user has access to this administration section by default, and that's where we're going to configure some of these basic structures that we're going to use to customize the system. So the most important one is the filing structure here. And what the filing structure is a taxonomy sort of to classify all these documents and to kind of organize what's being put into Drivve. So it's a hierarchy. We can also base the permissions off of this hierarchy. And I built a couple in here, accounting as a cabinet with a drawer for accounts payable and accounts receivable. We've got HR, we've got legal, a couple of drawers, and we've got sales and marketing here. And we can build those out as often as we want if you're an administrator. Let's say for sales and marketing I want to put a drawer that says maybe collateral, and let's see, communication, things like that. You can also remove them just by clicking that red button. And if we wanted to create a filing shortcut here, which is, as it sounds, it's a shortcut into a certain part of the system, we just select the part of the system that we want and then hit the plus button, and then we'll have a drop down for the filing shortcut. That's just a quick way to get in. The second thing that we want to do is create some document types in the type section. This is pretty straightforward. What this is just a type of file or document that we're putting in there. So for instance, invoice, PO, maybe contract. We could also do something like receipt, whatever, you get the idea. We can also create unique drop downs and list fields for certain cabinets and things like that, but we'll get into that a little later. This is just a quick basic way of using it. And that index field is built in, so when I go to do a search, I'll see those types. We could also configure the spaces here, but we're going to do that in a later video. We'll just keep it all about the documents themselves right now. In rights management, this is a way for you to control who can do what inside of the system or how they can interact with the system. So there's two things. One is who can see what data in the system, and the other is who can do what in the system, and this is the latter. So you see a light user, for instance, doesn't have access to monitor workflows or do anything like that. They also can't create spaces, they can only view them, and so on and so forth. Power user, regular user. This is all customizable. You just need to hit the edit button over here, and then you can give those users permissions. You could also create a new right if you want something specific. Oftentimes what we'll see is a right that only is for a specific permission because it's additive. So maybe there's a right just for delete documents, and that's given only to a certain user or certain group. So users can have more than one right, and it's all additive. Here in the user section, this is where we can manually add users and configure it. So let's say, for instance, I have username Bobby Hill, and his login is bhill, and it's an Active Directory login because he is an AD user, and he is not a workflow user because we do not have a workflow license for him. If we did, we could check that. And then here I could say that Bobby is a regular user. So there I have Bobby Hill. We can manually create the users here, or there's also a jobs tool that we'll cover later that we can use to bring them all in via LDAP. So groups, also pretty self-explanatory. I could create something like an accounting group, and then when I select that group, I can start adding the users. You can add more than one. Communication management, this is where we can upload an address book for our contacts when we send a document out. So this is a global address book within Drivve, and you do it based off of a CSV. We could also create a text template. What that means is when the user is emailing a document outside of the system, we can create a predefined message that goes along with it. So for instance, a confidential notice or a workflow based message or something like that. So you see now when I go to find a document, I can find a document based off the filing shortcut here. So I can say anything in accounting, something like that. If I hit the plus sign over there, I can hit find a document based off the document type, which are the ones that I've set up before. Let's see if I just do maybe Mighty Search and search. I think there are no documents in here. Oh, there's one. So I see that document. If I want to assign this to that filing cabinet or to that document type, I can select the document. I can here pick that I want it to be accounts payable, and that's the classification, but now I want to say that it's actually an invoice. So I've just saved an accounts payable invoice, and we're good to go. So those are the basic ways to set up index fields for the document. Remember that the Mighty Search is still a full text search of everything inside of the document. So a lot of times that works for customer name or number or PO number and unique index fields like that, because they can just search the Mighty Search. But we still give them a very easy way to create a structure, create permissions, and to create some index fields via the document type. Thanks for watching. The next videos will cover some more advanced configuration tools and also some of the built-in plugins.